Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today we have the pleasure of looking at another CZ. This is a CZ Bren 2 chambered in 7.62 by 39 with a 9-inch barrel. This particular one is an SBR with a side folding stock. You can also get this one in the form of a pistol commercially as well. I believe that's SKU numbers 91460. That's the standard one you can get with a pistol brace as well. Now, this is a very interesting rifle. If you want to go back a little bit, the parent gun is the Bren 2, which is chambered in 5.56mm, 14.5-inch barrel, standard issue for the Czech Army. The gun has seen a lot of service throughout the world, and a lot of experts, including me, will tell you when it comes to weapons trials for new weapons for a military to adopt, this would be one of the guns that I would be afraid to go up against with any company that I would be representing. The Bren 2 is probably one of the most durable and well-made rifles in the world. And for as far as what it does, durability and reliability is really second to none. Again, I know a couple different guys who work for some different companies. You know, they regularly will have a country will say we're going to adopt a new weapon, put your submissions in. You would have many different companies who would submit to whatever that requirement was, and then they would do the testing. And again, many of those guys, and we're talking very high-end companies, this is one of the guns that they would be afraid to go up against, is the Bren 2. The Bren 2 stems out of the 805 program. When the Czechoslovakia became the Czech Republic, it became a member of NATO. And at that time, it was using the VZ-58s. They switched over to the 805. They wanted a 5.56 NATO caliber weapon, which you'll see some photographs of. You'll see some shooting footage as well of that. Now, the 805 was an excellent rifle. It was durable, it was reliable, but there were some issues that they had with it. And some of those issues had to do with being able to clean it, being able to take it apart. Those parts, you couldn't disassemble the bolt carrier group. There were some issues with it. Some different things they did with the trigger. Some different things they did with the whole module down here, which is all an improvement. I will say though, the trigger on the 805 was slightly better than the one on the Bren 2. I can't necessarily tell you why, but I will tell you that this trigger on the 805 probably was one of the best military-grade triggers that I've ever come across in anything that I've looked at. And there's now a Bren 3. There's even an updated version of the Bren 3, which I'm not sure if we'll see in the U.S. If we do, it's not going to be for quite some time. But as a combat rifle, it's excellent. They've been available through CZ USA. I personally own a CZ Bren 2 14.5-inch, this SBR as well. Which you'll be seeing some footage of me shooting that as well. And again, that Bren 2 is just it's an incredible rifle. This particular rifle I have has had about 6,000 rounds through it. The first round of tests that we did with it, it had like 2,000 rounds through it, and the thing has been reliable. It's been accurate. It's comfortable to shoot. It's got everything that you would want in a rifle. There was a requirement that came out from the French GIGNs, which is the French Special Forces of the French police. GIGN wanted basically a rifle that was capable of penetrating body armor. They were coming away from HK416s, and they wanted some more firepower, so they wanted the 7.62x39. So they chose to go with a 9-inch as well. You also have an 11-inch barrel version of this as well as a 14-inch. The GIGN wanted to go with a shorter barrel. You also want to have the ability to suppress. So basically what you see here is the same rifle that the GIGN procured in 2017. Let's start looking at some of the details on this rifle. First of all, we're looking at the overall length. With the stock fully extended, you're looking at 31 inches. You partially is 28 inches, and if you fold, you're looking at 20 3/4 overall. Now, when the stock is folded, it actually locks into the cartridge case deflector here, so it doesn't flop open. You physically have to grab it, pull it, and extend it. And again, to further extend, again, someone like me with longer arms, we can pull back like this. If you're using body armor, you can have much closer up like that. This is a good sturdy stock. This thing is solid. There's nothing moving on this stock at all. So moving forward, you have a pistol grip. Now the pistol grip you have here has a removable back strap on it, which you can get larger back straps for it. It only comes with this one. I do believe you can order these through CZ USA. I'm not sure, but this is one of the capabilities. You have an ambi safety, right, left. Now the magazine on this is very interesting. This is, it's not compatible with anything else. This is its own magazine. It's an AR type magazine that uses an AR magazine release. However, you see that it has a proper curve to it. This was specifically designed for this weapons platform, and this is an extremely reliable magazine. We fired about 250, 300 rounds out of it, and we did not have a single malfunction. It was with Wolf ammunition, which is typical steel 7.62x39, and we also had some of the Hornady Match 123 grain, which was probably the most accurate round I've ever seen in that caliber. But this magazine is very durable, very reliable, and again, you have the benefit of it popping in like an AR. It drops free like an AR. It does come with two of these magazines. So you have a magazine release on your right side, and you have an ambi one on your left side. You have the bolt catch is very much like that of a FAL. You push up and down, so you pull the bolt back, push upward, and you pull the bolt backward, lift upward, and that engages the bolt catch, and you push down, and that releases it. You also have the ping pong paddle on the left-hand side. Your cocking handle is now on the left-hand side. This can be moved over to the right-hand side just as easily if you wanted. Now, when we take this apart, you'll see this whole thing is a module right here, primer module. Your serialized component is the frame itself. Now, the only potential complaint that I had about this is the fact that you have such a short grip, and there's not really anything that you can put on here to protect your hands because this gets hot awfully quick. I probably would love to see a little bit more real estate on there so I could actually get maybe 2 to 3 M-lock covers on here so that you could hold this onto this when it was hot. Next thing we have on here is a gas valve. We have position. This is in position 1 right now. Position 1 is the normal position, which should always be used. Now, position 2 is basically for a adverse condition, meaning that you would have, it would be very, very dirty, you weren't able to clean it, and it needed more gas to get it to work. However, that's not something that should be used on a normal basis. So you have 1, 2, and you have X, which is going to be off, and the third is for disassembly, which we're going to show in disassembly in a moment. Cold hammer forged chrome line barrel. And you also have a 5/8 by 24 threading. This is a specific kind of flash hider that they use. And it's a 3-prong, very effective at flash hiding. So we have a cartridge case deflector, and we'll take a look at this and see how this thing comes apart. Now for disassembly, this is very, very simple. No tools are needed. You push inward on a pin and pull it out till it detents. Pull down and lift out. Now you have your whole firing control module. As we can see, we have a fire control group that's sort of similar to the way an FN FAL would have, the way the spring is on here. You can see your ambidextrous safety. You can see your bolt catch here, which is the ping pong paddle. You have your locking pin, all one piece of a very, very durable polymer. Magazine goes in, so you can see your magazine release there. Mag release here, and there you have it. So now for the removal of the stock, you're going to open the stock up. You have a little latch button that's in there. You push in and you lift out. Here comes your stock. And of course, the recoil spring just popped out right with it. So to remove the bolt carrier group, we got to pull back to this position right here, and we lift that right out. Then we can remove the bolt carrier group. For the gas valve, we push inward, rotate over to the X position, pops right out, and there comes your piston, your valve, and there's your recoil spring assembly. And there you have it. So basically you see we have a short stroke tappet. And it assembles. Just like so. See, in the bottom we have our gas ports for adjustments. So now we'll take a look at the bolt carrier room. This is one of the changes with the 805 was making it have the ability to disassemble. So we have a push pin, like similar to having an M16. We're going to push in, we're going to remove the firing pin retaining pin. But then when we go to drop out, we have a firing pin lock on there. So basically we have to release the firing pin lock, and it'll release the firing pin to come out. Now we can lift out our cam pin, and now we pull out our bolt. Now the bolts on here are, you can see that there's ridges on here. This is what identifies this as a 7.62 by 39mm bolt. Now this receiver, you can remove the barrel and swap it out with a 5.56, swap out the bolt, and your lower receiver module, you're ready to go. The receiver is modular. You can do whatever you want. For the fire control group, this is set up for the AK magazine versus the standard AR magazine. You replace your lower module, your barrel, and your bolt, and then you can convert this over to a 5.56. And that's really all there is to the disassembly. Again, reassembly, your bolt's going to go back in. You would line up your cam path with your extractor on the right side. You're going to drop in your cam pin. From the bottom, you're going to insert your firing pin. Drop in your firing pin, and there you have it. So once I have the bolt carrier reassembled, I take the firing pin retaining pin, install that right back into position. Now I'll drop the bolt carrier back in place. We have the bolt inserted. Now we're going to insert the buffer spring. Just make sure that it's in the proper orientation. Like so, proper orientation. Now we take our stock assembly. And that will snap right into place. Locks it open. Trigger module. Drop it in place. Insert your pin. There you have it. Drop magazine. Insert your magazine. You're ready to go. We're going to take this to range and we're going to see how it shoots. Now, we shot this at 25 yards. It was a shorter range gun on paper, and our best group was 1.1 inches at 25 yards. Now, this was also shot at 100 yards, not a single miss. You know, I've shot a couple different versions of the 7.62x39 versions, other than AKs that I tend to like. And the two I come down with that I think are the best is this one and the SBR Light in 7.62x39. These are two of the finest 7.62x39mm rifles probably in existence right now. I have to say that for a combat rifle, this is an ideal rifle for a place like in Ukraine, where you have an abundance of 7.62x39mm ammunition and you want something better than an AK. Basically, you're getting all the modern features of the most modern weapons in the world, and you're still able to use the 7.62x39mm cartridge. Now, for as far as it being used for special forces, it's unique that the French would do this. I personally wouldn't have gone with a 7.62x39 as a primary cartridge for especially a NATO country, but they chose to go with it. You know, they also went with a really short barrel, so you're losing a lot of the energy out of the 7.62x39. So I guess I'm sort of not really getting why the GIGN would go with something like this, but they wanted a hard hitter. Again, the barrel lengths on this thing, you can get 9, 11, and 14 inch. The 14 inch on here would make an excellent combat rifle as an infantry rifle. Again, in Ukraine, this is an ideal type weapon. You know, for anybody who's looking for a 7.62x39 who likes the caliber but really wants something better than an AK, you want something that's more modernized, it's easier to use. This is an excellent option because you have all the features of an AR-15 with your magazine release, bolt release, your safety, and you have an excellent magazine that drops free. You don't have to cant. This is an excellent alternative to an AK. It's going to give you better accuracy. It's going to give you better everything. So my overall opinion of this thing was excellent. You know, everything I've shot out of CZ, this whole Bren 2 series is excellent. As many of you may or may not know, there's a 308 version of this thing out there too. It's not available in the U.S. yet. I'm really dying to get my hands on one of those. You know, in my opinion, the CZ Bren 2 series is probably one of the best combat rifles that's available in the world today. I think that the Czechs have done an incredible job in engineering and updating and also making something new. This is not something that came out of somebody else. This is something that came out of an engineering department who started from the ground up. The Bren, the 805 was a starting point, and it's evolved and it's continuing to evolve. As you see, we shoot for groups on paper, but the rest is done with steel. I think steel is a much better way to target shoot. You have that immediate feedback. Again, your targets generally are not going to have bullseyes on them, so it's more realistic training, and it's a hell of a lot more fun just to hear that immediate feedback. Those of you who are interested in getting some good steel targets, take a look at Challenge Targets. You get 10% off of all steel targets by using the code SAS. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.